Twitch and YouTube. This is Melsky Sharks, aka Mark McCoy. Both YouTube and Twitch, as I will be uploading this on the YouTube shortly after my stream with Twitch has ended. And I just thought I'd start a little series on Tropical Storm Marco and Tropical Storm Laura. These will be about 3 to 6 hour updates that I will be giving. Primarily, it'll be 6 hour updates, but if conditions warrant, like if a major change happens in the 3 hour update, I'll do a special update on the 3 hour thing. But anyway, guys, this is the first briefing on both Tropical Storm Laura and Tropical Storm Marco. I'll be going over the specifics as to the strength of both, the track of both, the impacts potentially of both, because this is something that could be unprecedented. Two hurricanes in the Gulf could be making landfall in the Gulf Coast within the span of 36 to 48 hours. So, like I said, that's mainly one reason why I'm doing this. So, just give me 1 sec. I'm going to get everything up and ready to roll. All right. Go. All right, here we go. So, the first storm we're going to take a look at is the one that's closest to making landfall currently, and that is Tropical Storm Marco. The advisor that just came out for 10 a.m. Central shows that it is a 70-mile-an-hour storm with a minimum pressure of 993 millibars, moving north-northwest at 14 miles an hour. Coordinates at 24.7 degrees north, 87.3 degrees west. And on the map, you will see that it is, well, actually, they have not updated this map. Yep. All right, National Hurricane Center, what are we doing? Anyway, it's going to be right about in here, and and the track is not really changed, so we don't have to really worry too much about that, but it is tracking to the northwest. It's going to hit southeast Louisiana as a potential Category 1 hurricane. Winds of about 75 miles an hour, may get up to 80, but the shear is forecast to get stronger as it gets towards the Gulf around this area, so that may weaken it a little bit. But as National Hurricane Center was quick to point out, there's little difference in it, a 70-mile-an-hour storm and a 75-mile-an-hour storm. So either way, the impacts are going to be there regardless. Hurricane warning has been issued for the southeast Louisiana coast, which does include southeast of New Orleans, Louisiana. Tropical storm warning is in effect for the south Mississippi coast, and they still have not updated the track. Hopefully, they will in the next little bit. Tropical storm watch is in effect for the southern coast of Alabama, which includes Mobile Bay. So if you live in any of these areas, today is the day you need to be rushing your plans towards completion, because by tonight and tomorrow morning is when impacts will start being felt in the Gulf Coast of Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. And since it's looking to make landfall around the southeast coast of Louisiana, the impacts will be greater along the Mississippi coast and the Alabama coast, which does include some storm surge potential of about 4 to 6 feet. And flash flooding is also possible, with the heavy rainfall and all that other stuff. So, if you live in Louisiana and Mississippi, the southern coast of Louisiana and the southern coast of Mississippi, now is the time to get your plans into place, rush into completion. And I believe actually some of the governors or some of the mayors of southern Louisiana have already ordered evacuations, mandatory evacuations. I think there was one that was in Grand Isle. I'm actually going to check the Twitter feed before I say that, because I don't want to give you guys the wrong information. So hold on 1 second. But I did see one where they did issue a mandatory evacuation. Okay, Mayor of Grand Isle. That's what. Okay, it was Grand Isle. So as of this time, they're issuing a mandatory evacuation order as of 9 a.m., which was 1 hour ago, on Sunday, which is today, because of Tropical Storm Marco and Tropical Storm Laura, which I will get to Laura in just a few minutes. So just bear with me, because I haven't gotten to Laura yet. But anyway, they'll be experiencing storm surge predicted more than 4 to 6 feet. Tropical storm force winds likely with hurricane force winds possible starting later today. And again, I will get to why I'm saying there's two systems in just a second. But curfew will be at 9 p.m. starting tonight. I'm guessing they're going to do that until further notice for the next couple days for this reason. The second of the two tropical storms, which is Tropical Storm Laura. Laura is currently over Hispaniola in the Caribbean, and it actually is maintaining strength and is actually holding its own, so to speak, in Hispaniola, and is actually merging over Hispaniola and is heading towards Cuba. You see by the mass convection there, or the satellite imagery there, the mass convection there, cold tops of negative 80 degrees Celsius within the southern tip of Hispaniola and Haiti. So that tells me very heavy rainfall. And Recon did fly in, and National Hurricane Center supported this. And actually, they're going to do another mission on Laura in the next little bit. So that may help us to get more details as to what's up. But as you can see here on the last track that they made on Laura, they couldn't fly into the storm because the storm was over Haiti, Hispaniola, Dominican Republic, and all that other stuff. But they were able to find flight level winds in about 50 to 60 miles an hour, which equates to about 40 to 45 miles an hour, or 45, 50 miles an hour on the surface. So the National Hurricane Center did go with the 50 mile an hour storm for Tropical Storm Laura. Excuse me. Um, and as of right now, Tropical Storm Laura is forecast to track on the east part of Cuba, maybe go offshore on the southern tip of Cuba, and then go over the western tip of Cuba, emerge over the Gulf of into the Gulf of Mexico, probably about probably Monday evening into Monday night, and it's gonna have about 2.5 days to strengthen. And by this time, the Gulf of Mexico is looking to be primed for strengthening. So would not be so right now. National Hurricane Center, I believe they're going with the Category 2 hurricane. Now the good news for those in Louisiana, Mississippi, I guess if you want to call it good news, is that the track did trend westward a little bit, but not much. But every mile does help in this case. Right now, they've got it going over the Texas-Louisiana border and then going over central Arkansas, weakening to a depression and weakening thereafter. The wind speed probabilities, and they did include both, or actually, this is just with Tropical Storm Laura. And right now, of course, obviously, they're looking at going on shore here in southern Louisiana as a potential Category 2 hurricane. Again, this isn't exactly accurate because the probabilities, I think, are going to be a little bit higher. But of course, they're factoring in, it's still being over Haiti, Dominican Republic, and all that other stuff. So they're still factoring that in. But it'll emerge over there. It's done very, it's not a good thing when I'm saying it's done this, but it's done very well in terms of maintaining its strength. As you guys can see on the um okay, that is Marco. Why do I have Marco pulled up? I need Laura. There we go. But yeah, as you guys can see, it has done very well in maintaining the cold cloud tops. As I want to get a satellite loop on this, and I'm probably not gonna be able to get it. It's gonna take too long, so we're gonna back out of that. So that's what we're looking at right now. The models pretty much have it going. The model track guidance pretty much has it going over West Louisiana. On some models, do still have it going over Central Louisiana and in Eastern Arkansas, but the prime models have it going over West Louisiana. If this were to be the case, then the east side would be about right in here. So Baton Rouge, maybe New Orleans, in the line of fire for tropical storm force winds, and then on some isolated hurricane force winds, depending on how strong this gets. Me and my friend Ace Wild was talking earlier, and he is actually thinking that because of the time in the Gulf, that it could strengthen more than forecast. That is certainly possible. We saw what happened with Katrina. I don't think any of us can forget what happened in 2005. Merged over into the Gulf of Mexico out of Florida as a Cat 1 hurricane, and then after that, in 24 hours, we were looking at a Category 4, Category 5 hurricane. Made landfall as a Category 4 hurricane after that. So I don't think any of us will forget about that one. So again, it could strengthen more than forecast. We'll just have to see how it all plays out. Let me see if they finally updated the track for Marco, and they did. Okay, looks like for Marco, they did push it a little bit further to the west. Not much, but they did push it a little bit further to the west. They did add a hurricane watch for the Bay of Campeche. They are under a tropical storm warning, but also under a hurricane watch for the Bay of Campeche. So, again, as Hurricane Center said, even if it does weaken to a 70-mile-an-hour storm after reaching hurricane size, even if it weakens to a 70-mile-an-hour storm, there's not much difference in impact from a 70-mile-an-hour storm to a 75-mile-an-hour storm. So I did want to make that clear. Because some people look at that and be like, "Oh, well, it's not gonna be as strong." It's not much of a difference, honestly. Tropical storm force wind probabilities. It's looking like the best chance of impact still on the Louisiana coast. Because of the fact that there is a good chance over the Mississippi coast and the Alabama coast. That's why I went ahead and issued the tropical storm force watch and warnings. A little bit surprised they didn't issue a tropical storm force warning in areas of central Louisiana, maybe around towards here. Like they could have extended maybe a tropical storm force watch over here. Again, not my call, but that's just my opinion. So, uh, yeah. And the last thing I do want to show you guys before I go is the threats and impacts from this storm. And actually, because of the way the Southern Regional webpage did this, we'll be able to see from both. Although, because Laura is still a good ways back, it's only really going to show Marco in terms of the Central Coast. And they do have some tropical storm force winds that could develop, mainly because of Laura coming off of Cuba. So if you live in the Keys, could still get some tropical storm force winds in the Keys. Mainly the winds though looking to be, and the winds here are mainly coming from Marco, because Laura hasn't made it that far yet, and they're not going to go that far out in terms of winds. But right now, the strongest wind still to be around the southern Louisiana coast. Could see hurricane force winds 75, 80 miles an hour. Not out of the question. New Orleans, about 50, 60 mile an hour winds. So, and Baton Rouge, same thing. And tropical storm force winds. Right now in Mississippi, they have it going as far north as Brookhaven, although I dare say maybe, possibly, Hattiesburg, and Laurel, Meridian, Jackson, not out of the question. Some tropical storm force wind gusts, possibly, depending on the track this thing goes. If this thing somehow moves back towards the east, definitely I would consider adding that in, but they haven't done that yet. But anyway, tropical storm force winds in around the I-20 corridor, Jackson, Monroe, and maybe getting towards Shreveport, and basically all around Louisiana. Basically, if you live in Louisiana, you pretty much have a chance of seeing at least tropical storm force winds from hurricane or tropical storm Marco. Could be hurricane Marco within the next 24 to 36 hours. Storm surge, again, looking like it's going to be 3 to 6 feet in southern Louisiana, southern Mississippi, and southern Alabama. So if you live along those coasts, now would be a good time to consider maybe moving to higher ground. The flooding rain threat right now pretty much is around central Mississippi and around Columbus to Greenville, points south. The Highway 82 corridor points south, including Arkansas. So basically, Shreveport, Jackson, Meridian, slight chance of flash flooding. New Orleans, Baton Rouge, and Gulfport, Mobile, Hattiesburg. More of a enhanced risk, a moderate chance of moderate flooding rain. So basically, a moderate chance of some flash flooding. That's pretty much all that we're going to get from that. Now, again, Laura hasn't made it close enough to where we don't know what it's going to do yet, so we're still waiting on Laura's impacts. If you live along the Florida Keys, this is from Laura's impacts. A slight chance of flooding rain from the outer rain bands as it come across Cuba, and it's going to be close enough to where some of the outer rain bands could hit the Florida Keys. So, anyway, the bottom line is this: two tropical storms. One is in the Gulf, one's in the Caribbean. Both forecast to make landfall in southern Louisiana maybe southern Texas, the extreme eastern southern Texas, but mainly southern Louisiana, as as hurricanes. Marco potentially as a Cat 1 hurricane. Laura, still too early to tell. National Hurricane Center is going with a Cat 2. Could be a little bit stronger than that. Time will tell. But anyway, guys, that will be it for the first update on Tropical Storm Marco and Tropical Storm Laura. The next update, I will try to do one for the 4 o'clock advisory, and then I'll do one for the 10 p.m. advisory on Twitch, and I'll have those uploaded onto YouTube as soon as possible, which they'll be up there. The first one will be uploaded in the next few minutes. Thank y'all for tuning in, and hope you guys have a great rest of the day. Enjoy your day. Melski Sharks, aka Mark McCoy, sign off. Take care, and bye-bye.